So it would appear that impromptu readathon has coincided with a weekend by myself in the house, which means that you guys are going to keep me company. Nice to see you. Hi everyone, my name is Chloe. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being here today. I am doing a reading vlog. I have tried to film multiple reading vlogs over the past week, 2 weeks. I think it's 2 weeks since I last filmed one. Anyway, basically not been having the best time. We're moving past it. I was in a reading slump. I didn't read for like 5 days, which is very unlike me. Like literally did not pick my book up. But I'm past that now, hopefully. I managed to finish a book last night, actually. Well, I say last night. 2 AM this morning, I managed to finish Lost in the Neverwoods by Raedathon Thomas. And now it is Raedathon. So for anyone who doesn't know, I did do a full reading vlog for the last Raedathon, which was all of a month ago. Basically, Raedathon is a readathon, which is hosted by Jade from JD Ray Reads. There are no rules to it whatsoever. It's literally just let's all read together, let's all encourage each other to read. And the reason that this one's happening is that Jade did a live show for her Patreons the other day, and we may have coerced her into doing this. We may have basically just been in the comments saying, do it, do it. She was saying that she wanted to read for the weekend and she wanted to like give herself motivation to read. Shall I do a readathon? And we all said yes, and just kept sending messages saying do it until she agreed, and then she announced it there and then. So here we are. So I thought, seeing as I was one of the people who was telling her to do it, I should probably do a reading vlog. It is a little bit later, so it's actually 3 o'clock in the afternoon now, but I have filmed some clips from earlier, so I'm going to insert those here. So you should have just seen a intro explaining that I haven't really vlogged in the last couple of weeks because I haven't been feeling the best, which is why please excuse my face at the minute. I'm very, very tired. But I am starting to feel better, and as I should have just explained, there is a readathon happening, but I did just want to give you a little bit of a blast from the past. So this is actually Friday the 30th of April, and I just want to sum up where I'm at with my reading and sort of finishing April's TBR before I get on to starting May's TBR for the impromptu Raedathon that we kind of pressured Jade into announcing last night on her Patreon live stream. So I think the last time you saw me I was finishing I Want to Say Vengeful. I know that since then I started trying to film a reading vlog and I was reading Like a Love Story. Full thoughts of that one in my wrap up, but I did very much enjoy it. It just took me a while to start reading it because there was about 5 days where I didn't read at all. And then managed to read Strange the Dreamer. I listened to the audiobook while reading along, and again full thoughts in my wrap up. But what you should know is that that one went from a 4-star read the first time round to a 5-star read this time. And then I have one more book left on my April TBR, and I started it last night. I'm about 150 pages in. It's a 360-page book, so hoping to finish this tonight, and that is Lost in the Neverwoods by Raedathon Thomas. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, this is a Peter Pan retelling. It tells the story of Wendy Darling, who has always told stories of Peter Pan, and then at one point when she was younger she went missing alongside her brothers Michael and John, and then Wendy came back but her brothers didn't. Wendy had no memory of where she'd been or what had happened to her. Now it's years later and kids are going missing in the same woods that she did, and she's trying to figure out what happens when lo and behold who should appear in her life but Peter Pan himself. And it's all about sort of what that connection is between her and the kids that are going missing now, and what actually happened when she went missing, presumably when she went to Neverland. Now, like I said, I'm about 150 pages into this book and it's only 360 pages long, so I'm a little bit under halfway, and so far nothing has really happened. I'm halfway through and I feel like we are still very, very much in the setup, and I don't really know when the action's going to get started. And the problem as well is that the characters aren't particularly interesting, so it's not even like I'm invested in their story. All I know of Wendy is that she went missing and she doesn't know what happened, and that's pretty much all you get throughout the entire first part of the story, is just Wendy saying, I don't know what happened. I keep seeing this, but it can't be real because that's just in my head. That's just imaginary. That's all you get all the way through, is just her going, but Peter Pan can't be real. It's like, well, he's in front of you, so maybe we should act on this. It's fine, like the writing's fine, it's easy to read, but I'm just bored. And I think it's more annoying because I love Cemetery Boys so much. I'll get through it. So I know that this is supposed to be a reading vlog for Raedathon and for the weekend and my plans for that, But I just wanted to give you another, it's still Friday night by the way, and I just wanted to give you another quick update on Lost in the Neverwoods. So I'm now 210 pages into this book, so definitely a fair chunk. There are 150 pages left. So I've read 60 pages since I talked to you earlier. Still nothing has happened. Like, well, no, I'm lying a little bit. They've kind of figured out where the missing kids are and who's taking them. But they don't really seem to care. Like, they do. But they spent this last chapter, it started off with them saying, like, oh, we think this person. And then they very quickly figured out where they think is taking them as well. And then at the beginning of this chapter, they're like, oh, okay, so we think we've got an idea of where these missing kids are. Rather than go, like, oh, maybe we'll try and actually go and rescue them or whatever, they've decided to go for ice cream. They've spent 2.5 pages discussing what their favourite ice cream flavours were. There was no reason for this chapter. And then it's ended up with, like, a friend seeing them and thinking they're on a date, and it's like, why are we being all fluffy and contemporary? Like, that's not what this story is. It's about missing children. Take it seriously. I don't know. I think I'm making it sound like I hate this book more than I do. I have just been talking to somebody on a Discord chat who has read this book, and they said that the last 100 pages is the best, that it definitely gets better. There's a lot of setup and it gets better. Now I'm nearly at that last 100 pages, so it needs to turn around soon. Fun update though, I am currently watching, oh, this is not gonna, there we go. Sprints. This is Dart Attack Play Your TBR Right Sprints. And basically what it's supposed to be is that Maddie from Book Browsing Blog throws a dart at a dartboard that decides how long we're going to sprint, and Gav from How to Train Your Gavin is play your TBR right, so play your cards right, essentially. Depending if we win that, depends on whether or not we get to choose that sprint time or we go with what's on the dartboard. The rules have changed like 5 times, and both Gav and Maddie are drinking, and as seems to be most people in the chat, including myself. So it's a fun night. I don't know if I mentioned I have the house to myself, so I'm literally just like sat here with gin and a book that I'm not particularly enjoying, but maybe the gin will improve it. We don't know. Like I said, have 150 pages left of this book. It is 9 o'clock. I should probably get back to reading. I'll check in with you guys later. So it is 8 a.m. or just after 8 a.m. on Saturday the 1st of May. So this is the first clip of the official Raedathon, which started at midnight. I was awake at midnight. Jade from JD Ray Reads, who's obviously hosting this impromptu Raedathon, also hosted some impromptu reading sprints for her Patreons, so I jumped on those because I very much wanted to finish Lost in the Neverwoods before I went to sleep. And my rule was if I finished it before I went to sleep, I could still count it as finishing it in April, because for me, I'm still awake, that is still April to me. So yeah, I finished that at about 2 a.m. I gave it 3 stars. I didn't hate it, didn't love it. It was very just middle of the road. Everything that I've kind of said in those previous clips stood true throughout it. Stuff obviously did happen. There was an ending, there was like some drama at the end. It still just felt very lackluster. Like, they didn't feel like they were particularly high stakes. Like, all of these kids were going missing, and obviously that's something that should be fairly high stakes. It just didn't feel like it. It was all just a little bit meh. Like I said, I finished that at 2. There was then one more sprint I was thinking of reading, but I ended up falling asleep. I woke up just as a live show was ending at 3 o'clock, and then was like, yes, I should actually properly go to sleep now. So I had some rest. I woke up at about 7:30, come downstairs, I've had breakfast, and I'm now ready to read. I just realised I don't have a pretty cover on this, but I'm reading The Proof of If This Gets Out by Sophie Gonzalez and Kale Dietrich. This is on my May TBR, and I thought I might as well use this Raedathon to start off strong, so I'm not sort of panicking the last day of the month like I was. Prompt with Romance, I had this arc. It doesn't come out till December, so I do not need to rush reading it, but I'm very excited to read it, and I thought for a Raedathon this could be a really good sort of kickstart, because it's One, it's a YA romance. Two, when I've read from Sophie Gonzalez before, her books tend to read really quick for me. And three, it is an ebook, so that as well should read fairly quick. I do need to film later on today, but I feel like if I can at least get one book done now, then I can film for the afternoon and then I can read again this evening. We interrupt this reading vlog because I just received some parcels in the post and I know that they're both book related, so I thought I would open them on camera. So I'm gonna start with, we'll start with the one that isn't an actual book. So actually, if you watched my last reading vlog, you'll have seen that I ordered a couple of these before. They are candles from Grace and Honey, which is Becca from Becca and the Books candle company. Her most recent restock was on the day that the Shadow and Bone series came out. A lot of the stuff she restocked was Grishaverse inspired, so of course I had to have them. I went for the Grisha Boys ones just because I loved the sound of some of these scents. So first I have Without Armour, which says it has got leather, thyme, raspberry and saffron. I believe this one is for Kaz. Oh, that's nice. Like, I think it's a raspberry. I can smell it first. It definitely had a hint of like sweetness when I first smelled it, but then there's something underneath it, which I'm guessing is like the leather and the thyme. I'm very excited to burn this one. And also, can we just appreciate how pretty the candles look on the top? We then have Make Me Your Villain. So I got a room spray version of this one in the last one. It smells like oud wood, which, as I said before, is one of my favourite scents. It's just, oud wood is not a smell that everyone's going to like because it's quite like musky. It smells like aftershave, but I love it so much. And this one's inspired by the Darkling. I'm so excited for my entire room to smell like that. And then last, but by no means least, because this is actually my favourite, one of my favourite characters, we have Prince Perfect, which is for Nikolai. I love Nikolai so much. And this one's supposed to smell of grapefruit, mint, spices, and blonde wood. So wood and spices. Oh, yeah. You can get that again. You can sort of smell that there's a little bit of fruit, but then there's a spiciness to it. Oh, I love all of these so much. I do recommend Becca's Candle Company to anyone. Now that I've managed to burn the Strange the Dreamer one that I got last video, I can attest to the fact that they do still smell very nice when you burn them. Because if you ever got a candle where it smells lovely when you smell it like that, but then it's got no scent throw to it, so when you actually start to burn it, you can't smell it after about 2 minutes. These aren't like that. These smell really, really nice. So, quick little mini review, but yeah, Grace and Honey from Becca and the Books. Very good bookish candle company if you're looking for one. Now, my second parcel is got the distinctive yellow tape on there. So this is an Illumicrate parcel. Actually, story time. I think I've told this story in a previous video a little bit, but basically last year, I contemplated buying the Dosab box from Illumicrate, and then just as I decided, yes, actually I will buy it even though I've not read the books, but I might read them and I might love them and it sounds really good, so I'll buy it anyway. Just as I decided to do that, it sold out. So then I held out hope that I would be able to get the original box on the past item sale. The past item sale was a little bit of a nightmare for everyone involved. I entered the lottery for the past item sale, didn't win either the full box or the individual book. And right, so then basically I have been searching online for a second-hand copy of the first book because in the meantime I had pre-ordered the second and the third book, hoping that I'd be able to get a full set. And I'd bought a paperback version of the first one, like with the new covers, so that at least I had matching covers, even if they weren't matching like formats. But it was causing me pain just to look at it and be like, that's not gonna look right. It's just not going to be as perfect as I want it to be. So I spent £200 on eBay buying the first full box. And I do want to preface this by saying that I really, really hate when people buy book boxes just to flip them and sell them on afterwards. And yes, I know not everyone can afford to pay the extortionate prices on there, and I generally won't pay the extortionate prices on there. Some people were selling the book on its own for £200, whereas I got the full box. It arrived yesterday. It was more money than I wanted to spend, but I'm very, very happy that I have it, especially with all the extra items in there, because some of those stuff is beautiful, like the bookends and the art print, and yeah. Anyway, so what this is the other two second and third. So now I have a complete set. So the Josab one has got blue sprayed edges because the cover's blue. This one has got a pinky tone to it. So we have some lovely pink sprayed edges. I've already seen what the books look like because I've seen the paperback version of this in stores. It's signed by Lainey. What I haven't seen though is some of the special stuff underneath. Oh my god, I'm looking at the quote first, but I've just seen a glimpse of the colours on the underneath artwork and it looks beautiful. So we have a beautiful embossed quote underneath here. The lighting's awful, I'm very sorry about this, it's because I'm sat in front of the window. But it says, mercy breeds mercy as slaughter breeds slaughter. We can't expect the world to be better than we might make it. Pretty. The other thing I will say is, why is this quote so off-centre? Like, am I the only one that sees that? So the reason they're limited edition is that basically you can get this cover, this 10th anniversary cover, in UK stores, but it's paperback only. Illumicrate's done the hardcover versions. So their exclusive ones is 1, that the hardcover, 2, that it's sprayed edges, 3, that you have the quote underneath, 4, that it's signed, and then number 5 is that Laini Taylor's husband, Jim DiBartolo, I believe his name is an illustrator. He has done, if you read Night Cake and Puppets, he did the illustrations for that. And he has actually done some artwork for underneath the dust jackets. Oh my god, this is stunning. We have this. Oh, can we see this? Like, can we just appreciate, look at the picture of Karoo. How bright and stunning the colours are. That's what attracted me, like the sort of swirls coming out. She's got a necklace of teeth. And then who have we got down here? We've got Kiva and Luraz by the looks of it. Oh, and I think I see a Mick and a Susanna. Oh, I'm loving this. Yes, this is very, very good. I like this. And then for Dreams and Gods and Monsters, it's an orangey cover. So the first one had Brimstone on it. The second one, I believe that's supposed to be Madrigal because we've got the horns on there. And then I'm going to guess that this is supposed to be a Kiva. I'm really bad at seeing artwork of characters and saying who that character is. I'm also really bad at remembering characters' names in like fantasy series until I've read it about 3 or 4 times. Like I've just reread Strange the Dreamer and I remember the characters in terms of what their actions were, but it's taken me a while to go, oh yeah, that's that person's name. This one has beautiful orange sprayed edges. I actually really love this colour. I feel like I've had quite a lot of pink ones recently in Illumicrate boxes, but I don't have a lot of orange, and I just think that's really stunning. We have signed, so I have a full signed set now, which I'm very happy about. Again, I'm going to try not to look at this, but I can see that it's going to be a Kiva based. And the quote on here says, people with secrets shouldn't make enemies. People with destinies shouldn't make plans. I have just realised actually as well. So on the back of the first one, I believe it says, once upon a time an angel fell in love with the devil. It did not end well. On the back of this one, it says, once upon a time an angel and a devil held a wishbone between them and it snapped, split the world in 2. And then on the back of this one, once upon a time an angel and a devil pressed their hands to their hearts and started the apocalypse. Seriously, if you haven't read the Josab trilogy, read it. It's so good. Ooh, we like this. So we have what again I'm guessing is a Kiva on top. This one's like Seraphim based. So it's Akiva, it's Luraz, and then I can never remember Akiva's brother's name. Hazael? It's Hazel with an extra A in it. So basically I think we can all agree it's been a good book mail day. Quick update, I have started reading If This Gets Out. I'm about a chapter in. I am enjoying it so far. I will say, and I know this is probably a little bit early to be saying this, I don't think it's going to be my favourite Sophie Gonzalez book. I haven't read anything by Kel Dietrich, so that's why I'm kind of comparing it to other Sophie Gonzalez books. The only reason why really is that I'm not always the biggest fan of books about where the main character's famous. I think because it's something that most people won't have actually experienced, it's hard to write it from a way that seems realistic, because also I think a lot of accounts of fame and things like that are very fictionalized anyway, as in like actors and musicians and things like that in real life don't really tell you the specifics of what their life involves a lot of the time, and we only really see sort of like the glamorous side of it. And so I think that when you have it in fiction, it's very hard to know whether or not it's like an accurate portrayal, because unless that person who's writing it has been through a similar thing themselves, it's very like, I don't know, it always just kind of takes me out of it a little bit. That being said, the characters, like I said, I'm only a chapter in and I'm already liking the characters, so that's a good thing. So there we go, we're back. You should be back now. so you should know where I'm up to for the day. So basically I stayed up till 2 a.m, finished reading Lost in the Neverwoods, went to sleep, woke up about 7, then started reading If This Gets Out by Sophie Gonzalez and Kayla Dietrich. I then realised that I really needed to get some filming done. I have a video that I'm supposed to have going up in half an hour. It's going up today, I can guarantee that. It's all filmed and ready to go, and I've also filmed next week's video now because I thought I might as well just do it in one go, because one of them was a wrap up and one of them was a haul. So I thought I might as well just get it done, and then I know I'm not going to be in this situation again next week. Anyway, that's not what you need to know. What you need to know is my reading. So I haven't been able to read too much of If This Gets Out because I am, like I said, editing, filming, all of that type of stuff. I will say that I'm in my bedroom at the minute and there are books everywhere. So yesterday dinner time, on my lunch break from work, I'm working from home at the minute, and on my lunch break I just decided to rearrange my bookshelves. Basically what it is that I know that you've seen in the unboxing that I had a couple of books come this morning. I knew those were coming. I knew I needed to make space for them. I also know that I've got some pre-orders of other things that are due. So I was like, well, I just need to rearrange things. Let's just do it while it's in my brain. Then I didn't finish it yesterday. So there are literally just piles of books on my floor. There's piles of books next to me. I mean, these are the ones from when I was filming earlier. So my plan for the rest of the day is to finish editing this, get this uploaded, everything like that. I will go back to reading If This Gets Out as soon as I'm able to sit down, but I do want to finish tidying my room today as well. So I think I'm going to start on the audiobook for Wind Witch, because that is my next book on my TBR, and I do have the audiobook for that. I'm thinking if I listen to the audiobook for that, that's different enough from If This Gets Out that I'm not going to get confused, because one's contemporary and one's fantasy. I'm on some reading sprints at the minute. Steph's doing some reading sprints right now. I also want to watch Maddie's announcement video for Whatever-a-thon at 6 o'clock. So it's basically just a bookish day, a bookish weekend. So we're doing booktube admin right now, bookshelf admin afterwards, watching some premieres, and then reading when I can. It's a readathon, but for me it's not. As long as it's bookish related, that's my goal this weekend. I was going to film another video, but I don't think I've got time. I will maybe do it tomorrow, or I'll probably end up doing it next week. At least, like I said, I'm set for next week. And if I film this today, I've got this for Wednesday. I'm a little bit ahead. I need to get better at scheduling. This is still very new to me. I've only been doing this for a month. Anyway, I'm still rambling yet again. This is a really quick update. I have read a little bit. I've been listening to the audiobook of Wind Witch. I'm about 6 chapters in at the minute, and I'm actually really enjoying it a lot more than Truth Witch. I don't know if it's because I already had that bit of background that I am sort of, I know where I'm at. It's good. It's not a lot has happened. I'm very red at the minute. Ooh. Anyway, yeah, I think it's just because I know a bit more what's happening. I've got invested in it a lot quicker than I did last time. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about Whatever You Want-a-thon, which is Maddie from Book Browsing Blog's new readathon that she's just announced. She's literally just had the premiere for it, and it all sounds very exciting. So basically it runs during the month of June, the entire month. There are teams involved, and you can literally read whatever you want, but there are certain prompts, and if you hit those prompts you get extra points. Everyone has to pick a team. I have just signed up and I've chosen Camp Contemporary, so I will be reading a lot of contemporary books during June. The captains for my team are India and Steph, and I'll link both their channels down below, and I'm very excited. I'm going to get so competitive with this. Also, the good thing is because it's through the month of June, that is Pride Month in the UK, and you get bonus points if you read books that are in any way LGBTQ+, so be they the author or the actual characters themselves. And I always have like my own little personal reading challenge every June of reading as many LGBT books as I can. Last year every book I read in June was in some way LGBTQ+ rep, and I'm hoping to do that again this year. I already have a few things in mind, a couple of pre-orders. One of the reasons I've gone for Camp Contemporary is because One Last Stop comes out at the beginning of June, and also, I mean, if One Last Stop comes out, we all know I'm going to want to reread Red, White and Royal Blue, and there's a prompt that's rereading a comfort read. If I feel sad I pick this book up. I've read it about 5 times now. So this is getting reread in June for Pride Month and for this readathon, and that just makes me very, very happy. Back to actually reading for Raedathon. I'll read for this readathon, and then there's going to be many vlogs coming up for whatever you want upon. I'm very excited about this readathon, in case you can't tell. Quick check-in. I've gone back to reading If This Gets Out. I've put down Windwitch for now because I'm actually sat down, so I'm physically reading. So I've gone back to this one, and we're starting to get to the cuteness, I think. We're about 6 chapters in, and it seems like the relationship's about to begin. Well, the first like hint of it has happened. I'm hoping it's not too many chapters until they actually get together, because this doesn't feel like a will they get together type of book. It's more of a when they get together, how do they deal with that and navigate that when they are in this boy band. And that's what I'm here to read, so hopefully that all comes together soon. But I am liking it so far, because I'm only about 6 chapters in. I'm about 10 chapters into Windwitch, so I've actually read more of that today than this, but that's because I've not really had a chance to sit down. But what I am reading, I'm liking. There's 2 different characters, obviously, and each chapter is told from a different one's point of view. I don't actually know which author wrote each character so far, although having read Sophie Gonzalez's work before, I'm thinking she might be Ruben, because it just reads like her style. But I'm really liking it. It's cute. We'll see how it goes, and I will keep you updated. It is, what time is it? It's 9:30 now. Jade's doing some more sprints at midnight, so I'll definitely be staying up tonight, probably till about the same time as last night, so maybe like 3 a.m, and then we'll see how it goes. So it is now 1:25 in the morning. I have relocated upstairs. I was sitting in the living room. Now I'm in my bed. I'm going to try and stay up for another, like, I'm not entirely sure how long. I'm actually on some Patreon sprints with Jade and Steph at the minute. If it's anything like last night, they'll be going till about 3 a.m, so hopefully staying up for about another hour and a half. I am 58% of the way into If This Gets Out, so I'm definitely making progress on that. I mean, part of me just wants to power through and finish it tonight, but I don't think I will. I read about 10% in the last sprint that was 50 minutes, so there's 46 minutes left of this one. So hopefully, if the next one's about the same length, I'll get another 20% done tonight and then have 20% left to do in the morning. I'm really enjoying it. The relationship is in full swing now. It's cute, but also fairly angsty. There's a lot of drama going on in it, but what I do appreciate is that, I mean, so far, because obviously there's still 40% left, but I do appreciate that the drama seems to be external to the couple rather than within the couple, if that makes sense. There was a little bit of drama of them originally getting together and admitting feelings, but once they were together they were fairly solid, which I like, because there's too many sort of romance stories where they seem to constantly have something thrown at them that's then poor communication between them and it splits them up for no apparent reason, whereas this is more like they seem fairly solid within each other. It's just that they are not allowed to tell people about themselves, which is a whole sort of different type of drama. And I just think for a book that's about celebrity and a sort of very fictionalized romance, it feels more realistic, because we all know those sort of romance books where it is literally like if you just sat in a room and talked to each other, you'd be fine. This isn't one of those. There's conflict, but there is an actual reason for the conflict. It's late, my words are not coherent, but basically what I'm saying is I'm enjoying this. I haven't picked up Windwitch again since, so that'll be tomorrow's read. I'm planning on baking tomorrow, so audiobook whilst baking. I'm still slightly optimistic that I might be able to get 3 books done during Raedathon. I'm definitely going to get If This Gets Out finished. I should definitely get Windwitch finished. I think I've got about 5 hours left of the Windwitch audiobook, so hopefully I'll be able to get that one done tomorrow, and then I'll try and pick up something else. It might be that I just pick up a graphic novel. At least if I can start something else, I might pick up a chunky book that's on my TBR and just make a dent in that. Although this is a 48-hour readathon, it is bank holiday Monday. I am not at work, so I should be able to read a fair amount, so this vlog actually might end up carrying over to the Monday. It's a 48-hour readathon, but then with a bonus 24 in the end, so I'm counting anything that I finish on Monday as finishing as part of the readathon, really. So let's try and aim for 3 books by Monday. New plan. I've just been watching back footage that I've got for this vlog so far, and I am progressively looking more and more tired as it goes along. That's understandable because we're now on day 2 officially. It's about 8 a.m. I've been up for an hour. I've been doing sort of like just housey things, tidying up, and I went to sleep at 2:30, so not quite as late as I planned to. I didn't read quite as much as I planned to. I was falling asleep in my book. I am 71% of the way through if this gets out. I am now sat down and ready to read again and hopefully get that finished in the next like hour and a half, and then we'll move on to Which nothing's changed in what's happening since I spoke to you last night, and I don't really have much to update you on in terms of thoughts. Like, I read a little bit more, but it didn't change my opinion at all. Still very much enjoying it, still just, yeah, getting through it. I haven't had any coffee yet. That needs to be rectified. I finished my book. Yay. It's 10:30. I've literally just put down This Gets Out. I've just finished it. I haven't put it through core pile or anything yet, but I think it's going to be a 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. Kind of everything that I've said before still stands. I enjoyed the story, I enjoyed the characters. I'm not a huge fan of the sort of fame-related story settings, but it's one of the better ones that I've read, I will say. Like, it felt like the discussions of the industry were a lot more researched than some of the other ones I've read. Like, sometimes you read things and you're just like, this does not feel realistic, or a lot of times actually you read things about famous people and they never seem to actually work, and it's like, they are actually like actors or singers or something like that. Like, they do have jobs and they never seem to actually show it. Whereas this one did. It was all set on a tour, and like, they were constantly, a lot of the storyline was that they weren't given time. They were constantly doing whatever press or show or whatever event it was they were given. I will say there was a couple of things that were sort of mentioned and then not really explored, and that threw me out of it a little bit. Like, there was talk of like the micromanagement of someone's eating, and it seemed as if it was going to go towards like potentially like an eating disorder type storyline, and then was never really picked up again. So I would have liked to have had like a little bit more, either more depth or not to have had them sort of fleetingly mentioned. I don't know, it was a bit strange. But in general, obviously it is a proof as well, like it's not due out until December, so things could change slightly before it comes out. But in general, I very, very much enjoyed it. It comes out in December, as I mentioned, so it's a while to wait. But if you are a fan of sort of contemporary YA fiction, if you're a fan of LGBTQ plus stories, if you're a fan of either of the writer's work before, I would suggest you read it. As I mentioned earlier, I haven't read anything by Kel Dietrich, but I will probably look into it now. I am a big fan of Sophie Gonzalez. I think Perfect on Paper is still my favourite book that she's wrote, but this one is very much enjoyable. I've read 3 of hers now and loved them all. So looking forward to whatever she decides to write next. When I said earlier actually that I didn't know which one wrote which character, in the acknowledgements at the end they specified, and I was right. Hale wrote Zach's story and Sophie wrote Ruben's. It's weird because I think actually like Zach's storyline was really interesting, but Ruben as a character I really enjoyed, which is actually probably good because it's a nice balance between them, because sometimes when you have like a duo writing a book, you very much sort of, sometimes you end up finding that you click with one character or one writing style a lot more than the other, and then that can throw you out of it. But this one I actually found I enjoyed them both for different reasons. Yeah, it's been a good thing to read over the first day and a little bit of Raedathon. I think starting off Raedathon, finishing a book that I wasn't particularly loving, it's nice to have read something that I did enjoy. I'm now going to go and get dressed because it's like 10:30 and I'm still in my, this is my dressing gown, I'm still in my pyjamas. Yeah, I'm going to go and get ready and then I'm going to bake. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to put on the audiobook of Witch. I'm about 80 pages into this, so we'll see how much I can power through for the rest of the day. Hopefully get this one done, and then it'll technically be 3 books that I have finished during Raedathon. 2 that I've read in total, and then 1 that I read about 100 pages of. And if I can start something else tonight, then that'll be great. This is a really quick update to say I am still reading. It's 9 o'clock in the evening. I've finished Wind Witch now as well. I haven't really been updating because I'm just not feeling the best, but I am here. I have my book light. I have started Docile. I'm only like 20 pages into it, but I will give you proper thoughts on Wind Witch tomorrow. I just wanted to say this is probably the end of the Raedathon part of the vlog. So this is going to be super quick, and as always, ignore the wet hair. I've just been in the shower. But it is now Monday. I know that was a bit of an abrupt end to the clips yesterday. I wasn't feeling great. I just came upstairs and I did carry on reading throughout the rest of the night. But like, I was just laid out in my bed, relaxed, and just did not feel up to talking to a camera. So I thought I'd jump in quickly and just wrap up the weekend. You've obviously already seen what happened on sort of day one and the beginning of day two. So I've read Lost in the Neverwoods, finished If This Gets Out. As I did mention, I did finish Wind Witch. I finished this sort of yesterday evening time. Mainly listened to the audiobook. Definitely preferred this one to Truth Witch. Still don't really love this series though. I think originally when I rated this, I gave it a 4 stars. I've gone back overnight and sort of thought, actually, I think it's closer to a 3. It's probably a 3.5, so higher than Truth Witch, which was definitely a 3. But just, I don't know, like this one was a lot more, it was a lot easier to read, it was a lot easier to keep up with. I don't know if it's because there's a lot to sort of make up from how the world was built in the first one, or if it's just that it's not for me. But in general, by the end of it, just didn't really love it, didn't really care for any of the characters in particular. So I don't know if I'll be carrying on with this series or not. It's highly likely that I'll probably leave it after this one, but at least I can say I gave it a try. I have then started reading Docile. I got to page 91 last night, and then I'm at closer to 200 now. It's the middle of the afternoon on Monday, so I've read a fair amount today, but I don't know if enjoying is the right word for Docile. It's disturbing me, like it's deeply disturbing me. And yeah, so when I know Maddie from Book Browsing Blog has talked about this one a lot, and she always points out the trigger warnings, but I really want to point out the trigger warnings. And this was like from about 50 pages in that I was like, oh no, I can see why this needs to be talked about, because you need to be very aware of this when you go into it. But it's very interesting. It makes you think a lot when you're reading it. I don't think I can say coherent thoughts in a minute. I think I need to finish it all before I give any sort of proper thoughts on it. So I'm going to leave it there, but I'm glad I've picked it up. I'm glad that I'm reading it. So overall, over this 48-hour readathon, I read, let's do a quick mental maths. I read 100 pages of Lost in the Neverwoods, about 350 pages of If This Gets Out, so we're up to 450. Wind Witch is about 450 as well, so that's 900, and then I read another 100 pages of Docile. So I read about 1,000 pages this weekend. Feeling pretty good about life now that I've said that. Considering last month I read about 3,500 over the entire month, May is definitely off to a good start. So thank you to Jade for deciding to do this impromptu readathon. Thank you to everyone else on the Patreon live stream for also encouraging her to do this. I think it was just that sort of kick that I needed for the beginning of the month. I don't know if there's going to be a vlog next week because I'm going back into the office. I mentioned earlier on in this vlog that I'm working from home, but from tomorrow I'm going to be back in the office a little bit, so I don't know how that's going to affect my reading schedule, which is also why I'm quite happy that I've managed to get these pages in. But there will be a haul coming at the weekend, so if you want to make sure that you know when that's coming up, please subscribe, you know, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff down below. Please leave comments. I want to talk to you all as much as possible. And I will see you next time with possibly more coherent thoughts about Docile, because I'm going to go and carry on reading that now. Bye.